Hello everyone, and welcome to Overlooting in under 20 minutes. Now, at the start of this run, straight away what I want to be focused on is finding any villager items that I can, and immediately I'm just not finding it. I find 2 Legion items, so I just hold on to those and keep focusing on combat. No real reason to put those on, because they won't increase my ability to deal with enemies faster. All these enemies only have 1 HP anyway. I'm now looking for anything from there. I get a regeneration amulet. I think it might help me keep from popping early here in the run. Another necklace as well, which is not going to be super helpful to me. Just looking for that villager set to get my luck up and hopefully find higher quality gear. There's the first item in villager set, the boots. Now, I have intentionally, going into this, chosen a skill path, or at least the beginning of one. You can't really know what's going to come up after, so you have to be able to adjust on the fly, but the first part of the skill path that I want is Hunger. That's what I've just taken there. That's going to allow me to do 2 attacks for the first attack of every round, which is going to be insanely helpful. Actually, I think it might only be the first attack in the overall fight. Either way, it doesn't matter too much because it's going to mean that I can deal with enemies much quicker, much easier, all the way to the boss, and most importantly, much faster. So we have now Hunger. We're growing and grabbing a lot of commons and uncommons, just whatever I have to grab. Part of speedrunning this game is knowing to just grab and move. You can't think about it too much, although there might technically be a better option here and there, and it does cause some mistakes on my end across the run. It's best to just take, grab, move on, and not focus too much on exactly the right item. We get the villager sword there. Sword getting us a little bit of extra damage. Yeah, no, it's really a trade-off. It's not that much better in terms of damage. The main focus of it is just to get my villager up slightly more, and we get a villager's knife, even better damage. I don't want to go 2 villager weapons just because the damage on that is going to be so low overall, just not reliable in combat. It's a toss-up. It's always a toss-up with that. Villager items are really, really weak in terms of damage, in terms of effectiveness for combat, but are so necessary to try to get a better run overall. Sort of an economy build almost with villager. Okay, continuing to grab another combat option. I mean, I like it a little bit better than the knife, so I put it on, but it's not that much better. We upgrade the boots, which were already tier 2. It's sort of a poor choice there. There's not a lot of good options. I could have upgraded the amulet, which is a blue, but I didn't think I was going to go Legion long term, so investing heavily in that instead of investing in luck just didn't make sense for me. So I went ahead and upgraded my boots for the extra luck. Now, you do notice, I'm sure, that I have some uncommon luck items as well. Why not upgrade those instead of the boots? The reason there is that each item, except I think the lucky amulet, there's only 1 luck item that actually has better luck than any other. Every other item goes 5, then upgraded 8, then upgraded 12. No real reason there to focus on other upgrades. Okay. Or other items, upgrading rarity-based luck stuff. Okay, so here we've rotated around a few different options. It looks like I've just gotten a couple uncommons, nothing too helpful. I do have there 1 other Thorns item, and Thorns is really important, really useful. The only problem being that it is boots, which is my strongest luck item, so I really can't swap out to that, use it for the regeneration. Right? So Thorns is really important because it allows me to counter attack enemies with Thorns every time they hit me, and to regenerate 3 HP if I have just 2 Thorns items. 3 HP every round. Useful. Definitely useful. It also increases my damage a little. And here we go. We get a good Thorns thing. But yeah, boots are not a great option there. Luckily, we found a regeneration amulet of Thorns, effectively replacing my regeneration amulet for Legion and giving me the set of Thorns. Extremely useful. We carry on forward, and I'm getting more Thorns items. I'm also getting an upgrade to the hat there. So a little bit better luck. Our luck's sitting at 25 right now. Certainly not bad, I would say, in the first area. I think, at the highest gotten up in the 40s with luck in the first arc of the game, but that is really unusual. Usually, I would say get into the 20s at least, and you'll be safe. We continue attacking here. Okay. Right, and grabbing another, and I think I just maybe didn't register it as I was playing, but I have a staff that I could upgrade my current weapon with, and I just got another one. I'm now noticing it because I see, okay, I can upgrade this one. Oh, did I notice it actually? Okay, we swap out the weapon, and there I do. I'm sure I noticed it there. We attack this guy, but I've already attacked once, and once you attack in combat, you can't swap gear. Grab the helmet, now upgrade the staff. Fantastic, or is it a wand? And then throw in 3 blues, a little bit of A little bit of strangeness there. You might have noticed that there was already a rage amulet in, or not a rage, but well, yeah, it is an enraging like bear amulet in the forge. That was because it took it from earlier. Really, really strange. Something I forgot about in this, and I forgot about at the time. Quite unusual. Okay, so we go ahead and grab more gear, combine in for the amulet, put the amulet on. I did that because I wanted to roll that epic amulet before. The one we had was extremely useful, extremely nice to have, but by putting it alongside 2 other epic tier things into the forge, we got our legendary shield that I'm currently wearing, and that will enhance my Dark Thorn all the more. Regeneration and thorns on it, and it acts as a shield, so it gives me guard. It is really a fantastic thing. I just upgraded it at the shrine, because it is it's the strongest thing I have right now, and I might actually use it into the late game. So my thought process there, I might as well upgrade a legendary if it's an option. Go ahead and throw some wound onto the boss, as well as some poison. And luckily, because of thorns, and truly thorns is what's carrying me right now, thorns is interesting in the first area because it basically clears through everything and then becomes nearly useless going forward unless you get exactly the right mythics in the late game. So thorns, amazing early game clear. Really unpredictable later in the game. You kind of have to swap off of all thorns if you're going for all thorns early most of the time. Okay, we continue attacking here. That's just my position on thorns, okay? I guess it's a hot take because some people do quite like thorns even in the late game, and there are a couple mythics, as I mentioned, that can turn that around. But okay, we're noticing that we now have a ring of fairy, and we also have the shoes being legendary shoes. So I'm thinking, okay, can I swap off onto fairy entirely and do the multi-attack that provides? The whole focus of fairy is that every time I hit the enemy, I add hex to them, then I hit them again, I break that hex. Almost like, if you're familiar with Megaloot, almost like Dazzle, how you could break Dazzle and gain armor. In this game, you can break hex and gain swiftness, which increases the amount of attacks that you can do. So you attack once, break that, you have a higher chance of attacking a second time within each round. I already have 2 attacks, so that could get me up to at least 3 attacks. Swiftness does not go above 1 extra attack. Instead of doubling your current attacks, it is just adding 1 to them, much like my current first skill. So, you know, nothing too insane, but it can be very useful. We continue attacking here. And if the idea is to finish enemies as quickly as possible, more attacks, well, it's what I'm going for in terms of skills. It's what I'm going for in terms of build as well. And grab... Well, we can choose between Curse Magic there. I'm considering it War Magic. Mana deals double. Oh no, Magic Burst hits all enemies, right? That's what it is? Yeah, so normally Magic Burst works in the way where you hit the enemy, the Mana Burst happens, and then it hits whichever enemy. So you could hit the regular, like, single enemy and it hits the other enemy, or you could hit the single enemy and it hits that same enemy. Kind of strange, but instead this universalizes. It hits every enemy all at once. Basically just a massive upgrade to our Mana Burst. So now I'm even more tempted, because there was really no good option to go with for Dark Thorn or Legion or anything like that. Because I'm investing in a skill for magic, I'm really thinking, yes, let's try to swap over to Fairy. Because Fairy, although it does give you swiftness, it is a magic damage weapon that goes for Fairy. So that is the plan. We take off a couple things to have room for potions and continue the assault. Okay, it looks like, okay, finally a little bit of a lull here. The beginning of the game is really fast, a lot going on. I'm trying to explain it just to get people that don't know the game as well to understand, as well as to understand my mindset, because I'm not playing perfectly by any means. And so you might see something and say, why the heck did you do that? I try to explain roughly why. Okay, like for example, just now I was able to get 3 items in the saltwater set. I don't even think that I was able to pay attention to that up until this point. I have been kind of stockpiling them. I had the necklace for a while. I had the chest plate, but didn't have a 3rd item there. Saltwater, the current set that I just found the last piece of and put on. Saltwater is all about finding golden chests. So you have a 30% chance with 3 saltwater items to find a golden chest in every combat. Golden chests give much better loot. It's sort of a guaranteed high tier loot, high rarity. So instead of using luck at this point, I'm shifting over to using saltwater. Saltwater has much better items, and it's sort of like a natural progression of the villager set, which is I think pretty well designed, honestly. It's something I still have to think a little bit about. The game has still just recently come out, so getting used to it. Okay, get an upgrade to tier 3 for the shield. I think I went with that because I'm concerned about the boss in this area. I want to make sure I can get past them. Now that I have the maxed out version of that, should raise my odds, and now I can focus a bit more on just getting good loot and preparing for the third area, because second area with Darkthorn Shield, it's more manageable, to be sure. Right there, you can see I wave my mouse around in in an upset nature. The reason for that is, and holy cow, do I have Fairy and Saltwater on? Okay, I was also able to get Fairy on, which is going to be helpful. The two of those together work well. But anyway, I waved my mouse around there because I passed up a magic wand. I think it was a magic wand for Arcane and not for Fairy, but still magic damage is something I want to focus on, and I wasn't so sure I wanted to skip it there. Anyway, we take the boots, we get an upgrade to the boots, that's fantastic. Increases my dodge chance. Dodge is really important because I can dodge, then counterattack, and with that counterattack, I can break Hex and gain all the more power. And also, every time I hit enemies and the damage spreads in the form of Mana Burst, it also seems to be applying Hex to the enemies, and then I can break that Hex with those follow-up attacks that spread Mana Burst around. So my swiftness is going up extremely rapidly towards 100 in each combat. Doesn't even necessarily get there because enemies are dying so quickly, but it is going well right now. I am sort of forgetting or not as focused on using Shadow in this. I think Shadow's ability to spin around and switch around what item goes in what slot is nice, but takes extra time and extra consideration, which is not very good for a speedrun. I prefer to just basically attack constantly and try to find things I can auto-swap. With this character, you have to manually swap if it's not going to go into the slot that you're hoping it to go into for an item, which makes things a little bit trickier. Just adds that little extra time that I don't want to deal with. So we're basically just playing it as though Shadow as a character is not there. There are some other advantages to Shadow, though, that make this solid. One being the skill. That first skill is fantastic. The second advantage being the third area. When you go to forges, or when you go to shrines in that area, you get a max upgrade instead of a single upgrade, which we'll get to later. Now, we have found another bit of gear actually two more bits of gear, really. For saltwater. The goal right now is to be able to get golden chests and get upgraded items from those golden chests, though the amount of damage I can do with this saltwater set is a little concerning, and it also takes a lot more time in combat, which is not necessarily a worthwhile trade-off while fighting these enemies, so I swap back over, as I remember doing in the run. It's not worth it to go that slowly. The character felt like they were moving at a snail's pace. Might not be super noticeable now after the fact, but at the time I felt like I was doing 0.5 speed. So I swap back over to Hex and continue my rampage. Hex is going to be very strong. I'm just a little bit concerned at this point in the run that I'm not going to be strong enough at the end. So we either go with saltwater and slow way down and probably just don't get there by the end, or we keep the fairy on, have less saltwater, and maybe don't get there because I don't get good enough loot by the end. Very concerning. But we carry on. And we already know that that's going to work out just fine for us as I get a staff there that is stronger than my current staff, which I think of replacing and going 2 staffs. Decide it's not a good call right now, but totally missed that I could just switch off the current staff with the other. Not a big deal because I'll do it now and continue attacking. Could swap again here, but I don't think it's a good call because I might as well do it right here if I'm going to. Maybe not even right there. On the way into the next combat. If I'd like to, I could combine the wands there, but I'm not sure if I want to or not. So I go ahead and upgrade one of them instead. Very strange choice. I could have just gotten a tier 3 there instead of going for a tier 2. I kind of registered that after the fact and wave my mouse around again as per usual. And we continue our attack. I did not swap off much of anything there. I don't think I needed to, really. We grab some rage. We continue attacking. I use potions. I have a lot of healing potions. Every healing potion, luckily, because I'm using Darkthorn, the amount of healing that I get is transformed into damage on the enemy. And so we get to do a lot of extra damage to the enemy here and get to the final boss there. Throw that on, attack, and it's just over just like that. One of the fastest second area bosses I think I've ever had. You can see me waving my mouse around in joy at that point. I look at Fated Sword. Forget exactly what that does. Think, oh, could I maybe use this to get an earlier win? I think it's something like doing bonus damage against enemies under 40 HP, 40% HP. But then I think, no, I'll just go with the boots because they're assured victory. And I don't know if I want to decrease my damage that much by using the sword instead. And then getting to the final boss and just not being quite strong enough to get them below 40 HP. and just popping just like that. I think it's a bad call, so I keep the wand on. Also a little concerned about the amount of Fey, the Fey stacks or set amount that I have right now. So let's just not worry too much about that. Go into here, we grab that. Might have been a mistake because there was a Fey hat there, and you're going to see that I make a few mistakes in the final area, the final spot here, because by this point, as I mentioned, am kind of worried I'm just not going to have enough to fight the boss with. I'm doing decent, but these are the weakest enemies in the third area, and I almost popped just there, and so I'm a little bit concerned. I'm taking longer to make decisions because I'm thinking about giving up, but then I'm like, let's not give up. It works out. Let's go ahead and take this golden chest, and there's another staff. We can get the tier 2 staff. I'm not sure exactly how I want to go about it in terms of upgrades at this point, because I could go tier 2, but if I'm going to go tier 2, then I would want at least one tier 1 to boost straight up to tier 3. So just a little bit concerned there. I decided not to combine them just yet and continue attacking. There you go. I think it might have been the right call in retrospect because I just wasn't sure. Now we combine them, so it didn't matter. But the hope there would be to find another one of those staffs, and there it is, right? That was the hope, right? Because now we find this one, we combine the other two, and we have a new staff that I can get straight to tier 3 without having to find or use any golden chests on it. There's also, and I do find this one, I consider using like, well, I can already get a free tier 3 here, so let's just take something else, something different. Okay. Swap back to the current shield here because I'm feeling a little bit unsure about fights. My health is really low. Use a healing potion there. Get some attacks out. That went fine. Get a little regeneration. It's always a nice thing. And just take whatever. I'm slow here because I'm worried. I just had to put on a shield of the wrong set in order to survive. But now I have lifesteal. This was something I was thinking about getting at this point in the run, just to make sure I could get some way to survive while attacking. We also get the hat. Fantastic. Could get me up to... And then I remove it. I do remember doing that. I felt a little bit foolish right after I did it, but I was like, well, maybe I'm not going to use it anyway. All right, we continue forward, and we take an upgrade to the lifesteal. We're still thinking about doing lifesteal. We swap it on, swap over to Faye, and now if they remove some of my HP, I will be able to use lifesteal anyway. That's the plan. Take this vest. I'm still thinking about, gosh, wait, should I have not done that hat thing? But I can't focus on it right now. We just got to keep focused on the run, because this might actually be a good one. And we keep opening and keep going. We get to the shrine, we upgrade the staff. Now we have 2 maxed out staffs, and that gets me up to 24 to 36 magic damage at base. We do 61% mana burst, meaning a good portion of that magic gets spread around. And of course, my swiftness is going up like crazy. But the boots, the whole focus of these boots that I have right now, these mythic boots, is that every time I attack with a fairy, I'm getting more and more and more swiftness. My swiftness is going up like crazy, but then I cap out at 100. The boots make it so I can go over 100, and they make it so every attack gives me, what is it, 10% swiftness boost? So they are extremely, extremely powerful, especially with a fairy build. We continue attacking. They're not bad with Sylvan, but I would say substantially better with fairy. The potential of fairy with these boots is kind of unreal. Okay, we look in here. We see, is there anything that I really want from this? Maybe the Godslayer dagger, because I could kill an enemy faster. Maybe not. I'm kind of considering it. I probably should have taken it. Let's just keep going, you know? Let's not focus too much on it. I decided to skip out on a second mythic at that point, continue attacking, because I think, you know what, maybe this build is actually going to work just fine for me. I'm starting to get confident in it again, and now I'm basically just clicking through, open chest, click forward, attack, open chest, click forward. That's the hope right now. We don't want to be spending any extra time, because I've just realized maybe there is time still to go under 20. I had given up hope, but it is restored before your very eyes. Okay, we keep attacking. We're getting very close to the end now, and I basically have everything that I want to have by the end. I see that there are mythics there. It makes me pause for half a second, but I decide, no, let's not do it. Just click, click, click. Let's go forward. Go to a forge, straight out of the forge, continue attacking. Now, of my current gear, I basically just have, like, what I have on right now is what I want to use against the boss. Effectively, we're going to be able to lifesteal and keep myself alive that way, and hopefully have enough swiftness by attacking a lot of times to deal with the final boss. I have no way of really stunning them. I'm kind of concerned about that, but as soon as I can get enough swiftness, we'll be fine. Okay, an upgrade, it looks like that was to the vest, to my my suit at the center there. That makes sure that that I have enough dodge. We have 47% dodge chance. Just have to at least dodge one of these attacks, and then my swiftness will scale. You can see it's up to 249, now up over 300%. Means I attack 3 times in a single round. Plus, well, 3 extra times, I should say, in a single round. Now 4 extra times. So we have 1 and then 2 because of my skill, and 4 or 5 by the end additional.